Okay, so Extreme Networks, you've fairly recently launched Platform One, and I guess good starting point would be to understand a little bit of the background to development of the solution, and then we'll sort of move on from there.
Yeah, sure. And it's good to be with you today. Super excited to talk about obviously Platform One and how that relates to our MSP program in this discussion. But yeah, as you mentioned, just to give you a little bit of background on Platform One, at the end of the day, we continue certainly in the IT space and the IT industry and specifically the networking industry, we continue to battle with the pace of innovation and the ability for our customers and network operators and engineers to consume that technology at the same pace. Technology accelerates very quickly, and as human beings, we have a harder and harder time adopting or adapting to new features, new capabilities at the same pace. And so over time, you end up with that age-old technology consumption gap. And at the end of the day, we have taken a fresh look at how we manage, orchestrate, operate, optimize network infrastructures from obviously an always-on 100% uptime standpoint, but there's also significant security ramifications. It's how we license and purchase the technology. There's lots of different apps, logins, integrations. AI is I think hit the hype cycle now is coming down a little bit into that trough of disillusionment. And so we've taken all of this and the opportunity here to really take a fresh look at how we bring all of these things together under a single platform. And so that's what we call Platform One. It is built on top of what we call a core AI technology. So AI is not a bolt-on with Platform One, it's a built-in from the ground up. And at the end of the day, it's a brand new, fresh user interface that we're really proud of and happy of and excited to share it with the world and the marketplace.
Oh, that's great. And in terms of, we'll drill down a little bit more on Platform One in a moment. But before we do, I guess because you've added it obviously to your existing MSP portfolio offering, I guess it'd be good to understand how you're already or your MSPs are particularly benefiting from the solutions you're already providing, which is around, as you mentioned some of those words there, networking, security now. So what is it
Yes,
that you've already providing? And then we'll talk about the, if you like, the icing on the cake, which is
sure.
the Platform One.
Sure. Yeah, let me give you a little bit of history around our MSP program. So we actually started our program around 18 months ago and call it a beta or an invite only with some select partners around the world. So we could really craft and curate a program that really hits the sweet spot for their needs in the current dynamics in the marketplace. And so over the last 18 months, we've assembled close to 50 MSP partners that we've been working very closely with to help us again craft and curate the optimal MSP program. And so that resulted into what is our formal, official, generally available MSP program, of which Platform One is obviously a key element of that, to share it with other partners around the world who are interested in perhaps augmenting their current MSP offering with infrastructure-based solutions, security, using, zero trust network access technologies, SD-WAN. Effectively, our broad portfolio can be applied in whole or in part to help any MSP managed solution provider augment or add to their existing offerings. So we're pretty excited about the road ahead, and then the learnings that we've taken over the last 18 months and pulling them forward so that all of the other MSPs globally can benefit from really the unique value that we bring to the program.
Okay, yeah, and in terms of the Platform One, which is if you like the latest development, I guess it's helping MSPs even more, and I think focusing on things like licensing, performance, and service. So maybe you just want to expand a little
Sure.
bit on what's what Platform One is actually offering, providing.
For sure, sure. So we have Platform One, of course, can be purchased and deployed and operated by any traditional or typical enterprise user. Enterprise environments that have their own IT staff, their own IT operations, where they manage, service, deploy, optimize the network infrastructure, both wired and wireless, from the edge all the way to the data center, right? That whole picture. But what's unique about our solution in Platform One is we also leverage Platform One, and then that enterprise user or enterprise instance can plug into our what we call our Platform One for MSP workspace. And that is a multi-tenant interface and workflow that allows an MSP to manage multiple customer instances that each customer has their own, call it Platform One instance that they're using. And Platform One for MSP Workspace is really that instantiation or that mother of managers, if you will, that sits on top so that an MSP provider can not only see a holistic view of their entire MSP estate, but then they can also, in context, drill down right down into an individual user on a network to help troubleshoot all in the same workflow, not having to jump through different user interfaces or different tools. It all happens through the same Platform One interface. And of course, remember I mentioned earlier, it's all built on a core AI engine. And so you can imagine the use cases that are still being realized and how AI can really help managed service providers optimize, augment um, the performance, the availability to really not only meet but exceed SLA commitments that they may have for their clients. So it's a pretty exciting platform that we really truly believe MSPs are going to see huge value from as well.
Yeah, and as you say, AI is the sort of the engine driving the solution and brings some of the sort of game-changing element. And I think you also the consumption-based billing model is something which is a
Yes.
little bit different, or just talk us through why that's important to folks these days, I guess.
It is. And in fact, based on the first 50 or so MSP partners that have been onboarded to our program, that is probably the number one best thing they like about our MSP program, certainly in the early days of adopting Platform One. But the consumption, post-paid consumption billing model again, is probably the number one benefit that our partners, MSP partners, have communicated to us, in these early days. And the reason is pretty straightforward. Um, we found in the industry a lot of vendors and technologies are trying to leverage term-based subscriptions, term-based licenses that you have to purchase up front, and then there's a time clock on those. Usually it's like a 1 year, a 3 year, a 5 year term-based license, and then partners try to force fit that into a monthly consumption model. And that has challenges for many reasons. A lot of them have to do with cash flow to purchase, a term-based consumption or term-based license requires a heavy upfront cash outlay that then the partner can charge monthly to recoup that over time. Whereas we looked at it completely the other way in that we wanted to, number one, offer our MSP partners a pool of licenses. So let's give our MSP partners full authority to manage, distribute, activate licenses on their own, meaning they don't have to, submit POs. They don't have to purchase term licenses and force fit them. We provide them a pool. Every partner to start gets a pool of 25,000 consumption licenses. Those licenses remain dormant in their pool. Once they onboard a client and then use those licenses to activate wireless access points, switches, data center solutions, ZTNA solutions, whatever it might be, we automatically detect that in the cloud. And then the automated billing, monthly billing starts only for those licenses that have been activated. So again, and we only charge post, so it's at the end of the month, not the beginning of the month, based on the average use over the first 25 days. So we really allow partners to call it flex licenses up and down for a given customer or client over the course of a month. Day 25, we take the average, and that's how we bill. So it's a very powerful, call it a cash optimized program that really helps our MSP partners build that predictable recurring revenue model, knowing that their contracts with their end clients and pricing will remain steady, it's predictable, it's flexible, and it optimizes, call it that cash outlay, on a month-to-month basis. So it's been probably the number one feedback item on the consumption model that we've received to date.
Okay, and I was going to ask about fit because obviously you've had the, if you like, the early adopters you've worked with, you've been sort of evolving everything and getting feedback from them.
Yes.
Um, and then you've launched, as I understand it, a few days ago, the sort of general availability.
Yes.
So I guess is it too early to get any feedback from those folks, or have you had some initial reactions as to how it's been received by the general sort of folks out there as opposed to your early adopters? And anything else? Obviously early adopters, you say obviously the consumption based billing model is very attractive. Was there anything else that they sort of said, yes, we like that, or can you change this, etc.?
Yeah, for sure. So, again, our early adopters have helped craft not only our consumption model, but also our technology, our solution, our platform one workspace for MSPs. And so not only the workflow, but the data widgets, what's important, what's critical to them on a day-to-day, as we talked about, not only performance and availability of the network, but also licensing, who's consuming what, where, when, all that detail is all in the same UI, the same workflow, in addition to that rich core AI engine that MSPs can now do different things to automate their day-to-day operation, right? And we'll talk more about that, I'm sure, here in a couple of minutes on how AI applies here. But AI is a big one. That's been another key piece of feedback in the early days of Platform One, as well as the new look and feel, modernized user interface. We're very pleased with and happy about, as well as the workflow, just the simplicity of the optimizing an MSP's time and how much time they have to invest and spend in their people to manage their client network. So if we can optimize that, they can reduce cost while growing revenue, and that's a winning strategy in our minds for sure.
Okay, and just pivoting slightly, in terms of other sort of developments of the company, I think you fairly recently announced you've appointed a new Chief Information and Customer Officer,
Yes.
Anisha Vaswani. I'm just
Mhm.
wondering, first, is that a new role that's been created, or is it an existing role? She's just the latest person to do it, or is it a role you specially created? Just tell us the background to that as well.
Sure, sure. Yeah, we're great. We're lucky to have Anisha on board. So our CEO, Ed Meyercord, really took the opportunity to see where we are in the marketplace and really how do we better optimize the capability of the quality of our technology, but also how we deliver the customer experience. And so Anisha comes in kind of in a dual role capacity, as you mentioned. Number one, our CIO, our Chief Information Officer, but also what we call customer zero. So think of it, the age-old analogy, we love to drink our own champagne. We want to be the first to take, we want to take the first taste when it's come off the manufacturing line. And so Anisha really is employing a program where everything that we build and develop, when it is first released, Anisha's the customer zero. Her and our team, the Extreme Networks infrastructure is the first to adopt. And perhaps we catch some things that maybe we missed, or we can optimize things before any potential customer, implements or deploys. So not only our CIO, but also our chief customer officer as customer zero. And what we've done as part of that too is our entire global technical assistance or GTAC organization, our customer support, is now reports to Anisha as well, given that that is the arm that delivers that quality customer experience and support function all resides under Anisha as well. So we're pretty excited about that slight pivot in the go-to-market and how we're really leveraging Anisha's background and skills to help us take that next step to delivering world-class customer experience.
Yeah, and I'm wondering in terms of what if that has a specific impact for MSP's channel. You've obviously explained she's sort of customer zero, so she's gonna sort of kick the tires on stuff if you like. So that
That's right.
potentially helps. But is there anything else? Or what else is the enhancement, if you like, for the customer service as opposed to what you're already doing? I suppose is the question.
Yeah, I think we operate we have a global business, a global environment with offices all over the world, a lot of hybrid work from home, work in the office employees. And so a lot of the challenges that we experience in our operation obviously apply quite directly to every other enterprise in the world, give or take, some differences in the industry and some of the business challenges. But at the baseline, we all in the entire world, every enterprise there's a baseline of very similar challenges to address. And so Anisha's take and her vision and ability to see around the corner ahead and help our development teams obviously input in addressing challenges before even our customers realize there will be challenges is really the key element that we're really going to be leaning on Anisha to help us get in front of over time. And that of course applies to MSP as well. Our environment is many business units and business functions all around the world. And so she looks at that very much the same way an MSP would for their client list as well.
Okay, maybe just looking ahead as we finish, it'd be good to understand a little bit more about the Extreme Networks roadmap and
Or
imagining AI. You said obviously you
yes.
can't really have a conversation about IT without mentioning AI these days. So I'm suspecting there's something to do with AI there. But what can you tell us, whether it's specifics or just sort of general direction of travel? It'd be good
Sure.
to understand. Okay.
Sure. So obviously we have a broad portfolio of network infrastructure technologies, wired and wireless technologies. Wi-Fi 7 is here now. Gosh, and it's hard to believe, but it won't be but another 18 months or 2 years before Wi-Fi 8 is here. And so that the pace of innovation in Wi-Fi technology continues to accelerate. We're at the forefront of that. Of course, that's all back-ended with our world-class campus fabric and data center fabric technology that is inherently secure, which is important for our customers in the industry. So we continue to innovate on all the infrastructure technologies. But of course, the big one is Platform One and really unlocking and tapping AI. One is what we call AI expert, and that's real. That's the built-in call it prompt that's in every view, every workflow, every window within Platform One. It's natural language. It's AI at its core. It allows you to drive and have conversation. I'm sure you've experienced any of the AI tools today, ChatGPT or any of the others. It's very conversational, self-aware. Think of that in the context of a network infrastructure. Very similar use case there. It also learns that our AI expert, we've had it learn from not only our full documentation suite, but our GTAC knowledge base, our website, all of the depots of information that we have, we've injected into the AI expert agent so that it really changes the paradigm on how users and operators can interact with the network, with the AI engine for either for learning, for guidance, for use case development. Hey, I've got this problem. How do you suggest I solve it? That's all built into our AI core engine. And so the development and innovation that's going to happen there over the next foreseeable future is going to accelerate very quickly. And we're excited to share all that with our customers and partners around the world.
Okay, just one thing on wired and wireless. I'm just always
Sure.
intrigued because clearly wireless is the ultimate in terms of flexible network, but there are
Yes.
understandable reasons why people often want to use wired. And just in the data center environment, I'm just wondering, do you foresee the sort of the ways in which those technologies are or aren't used remaining the same, or can you foresee a bit of a future where wireless might, not obviously in terms of connecting the
Sure.
IT hardware, but maybe being used within the data center to obtain information, etc., and coming back to the AI, helping rather than having fixed wires for that kind
Sure.
of activity. Just any thoughts you might have about that?
Yeah, sure. So one of the things I always like to say is any wireless user, device, any wireless application traffic at some point hits the wire. And the reason it hits the wire is because of the laws of physics. Radio waves, obviously, there's delay, there's uh, envelope or radio capacity, radio scale, whereas on a wire line or using light in the case of fiber optics, there's a lot more bandwidth, there's a lot more speed that goes along with it. So we still believe that obviously there's a place for wired infrastructure. We're talking 800 gigabit port capability. We're already looking at 1.6 terabit port speeds on a single interface in the wired network. And one of the major things that's driving that, certainly in the data center, is the AI workloads. And I mentioned early on how we're kind of at that trough of disillusionment with AI because what many enterprises are starting to see is AI is very expensive. It's very computational heavy. And if those workloads sit in the cloud, you're paying for that. And so now enterprises are looking, well, can I bring those AI workloads back into my own data center? And maybe I arm up some of my compute, storage, and network so I can do those workloads and save money. And so again, we've seen this over the history in this technology, this ebb and flow of centralized compute and storage, decentralized, back to centralized. And so we're seeing that pendulum swing once again. And ultimately, I think it'll even out with kind of a hybrid, some cloud work, on-prem work. But of course, any of the work that's on-prem is going to require very fast, high bandwidth networking technology, in addition to compute storage to really manage these AI workloads and support these AI workloads at high speed and high efficiency. And so that's going to be, we believe, is going to be the next major wave for, call it, wired technology in the enterprise, in the data center that will then obviously span out to the wireless edge as well. So it's a pretty exciting road ahead. And again, a lot of these things that we just talked about obviously are in our roadmap as we look to the future as well.
That's fantastic. I mean, it's been great to chat and some brilliant insights into what's going on at Extreme and the platform one and AI as
Yes.
we can't avoid, if you like. But it's been great to chat, and I really appreciate your time, Dan. So
Oh, it's my pleasure. It's fantastic. Good chatting with you. I look forward to doing it again.
thanks very much.